Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about tax-efficient investing. So the first thing to know is that if you're going to invest inside of something like an IRA or a 401k, you don't really have to worry so much about being tax efficient because you're not paying annual taxes on the growth inside of those accounts. So that's why they are tax preferred. That's why it's a good place to put your money to start with. But if you are also investing inside of a taxable brokerage account, so anything beyond just those retirement accounts, then it's important to understand how the taxes work with investing. So the first thing to understand is that there are qualified dividends and there are unqualified dividends. There are long-term capital gains and there are short-term capital gains. So the preferred investing income comes from qualified dividends and long-term capital gains. So long-term capital gains are very easy to understand. You need to hold the asset for a year before you sell it in order for the capital gains to be long-term. Qualified dividends are a little bit more confusing. Just know that qualified is good. So if you're investing in taxable accounts, you want to try to stick with qualified dividends and long-term capital gains as much as possible. Depending on your taxable income, you may be taxed at 0% on the qualified dividends and long-term capital gains, or you may be at 15%, or you may be at 20%. In each scenario, that is less than what your marginal tax rate would be at that income in general. So for tax-efficient investing, things to know would be inside of taxable accounts. Stick with qualified dividends and long-term capital gains. Index funds and index ETFs are a really good way to make sure that that happens in those taxable accounts. If you're planning to invest internationally, ideally, actually, you're going to put that in a brokerage account, not in the retirement accounts. It's kind of a long explanation, but basically there are some tax benefits. You could capture some of a tax credit because you're actually going to be paying taxes to those other countries when you invest internationally. And if you do that, you want to be able to get some of that money back. And so there is a tax credit for that. Investments with the greatest growth potential should go in Roth accounts because you'll have already paid taxes and won't have to pay them again. Bonds pay interest, and interest is charged as regular income, as are unqualified dividends and short-term capital gains. And so ideally with bonds, it'd be best to put them in something like a traditional retirement account. If you do want bonds in a taxable account, consider municipal bonds from your state. And Reits, or real estate investment trusts, pay out a lot of unqualified dividends, so they are best in retirement accounts.